you.
Thank you too.
Here they are.
Here we go.
Heads up! Come on. Out of the way.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you to Leader Jeffries, to my Senate colleagues and all members of the House, and thank you to all of those in attendance today who loved ones because of January 6th. To Officer Brian Sicknick's mother and brother, Gladys and Glenn. Gladys and I are Madison High School graduates together. To Officer Jeffrey Smith's spouse, Erin, and to everyone else, thank you for being here. We are here today because we must never forget what happened on January 6th, 5 years ago. Not only must we remember it, but so much our children, our grandchildren, and future generations. The day democracy was placed at greater risk than it has been in more than a century. 5 years ago, a vicious mob tried to undo American democracy. Thousands of rioters, egged on by Donald Trump, stormed the U.S. Capitol, smashed its windows, desecrated its hallways, ransacked its offices in an attempt to steal the 2020 election. Members hid in the House chamber. Staffers barricaded themselves in offices, hid behind desks, fear for their lives. I remember the moment. I was sitting at my desk. I had just become a putative majority leader because we had won the election the night before. And I'm sitting there feeling, wow. And all of a sudden, I feel an hand, grab my collar. Never forget that feel. My brave Capitol Police officer, Mike Lazinski, said, "Senator, we got to get out of here. You're in danger." And I looked up at the podium and I saw Pence being rushed off the platform. We went out the Senate door, made a right turn, opened another door, and we were within 20 feet of those rioters, of those insurrectionists. One of them looked at me and said, "There he is, get him." But because of the work of my brave police officers, led by Mike Lazinski, I wasn't hurt. Let us never mince words about what happened again. Those who try to lie about it, those who try to make up myths about it, we're not there. We were. Most of us. We know exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. And then, even more malicious, Donald Trump's White House released a maliciously false account that blamed the Capitol Police for the violence. How disgraceful, how despicable, how disgusting, how low. Donald Trump showed what a low human being he is by his actions that day and in preceding days, where he tried to lie and cover up the truth. It's stunning. He is stunning in his maliciousness and his dishonesty. And then, to show truly who he was once again, if his evil character, if his bad character didn't come through enough, on the first day of his presidency, he issued a blanket pardon for every single criminal who attacked our police on January 6th. And now, in a vicious twist of the truth, he blames law enforcement for the violence. In the face of such blatant lies, let us all tell the truth, and let future generations remember it. On January 6th, our Capitol Police officers were heroes. Our D.C. police were heroes. Our law enforcement, who protected this building, protected lives, protected democracy, were our true heroes, and to them, personified by the Sicknick and Smith families, we say thank you. You are the great Americans. You are the great Americans. Not Trump and his minions. And it is just so disappointing, confounding, troubling that so many in Donald Trump's party now have fallen in line with what they know is a big lie. about what happened that day. Whether it's fear, whether it's viciousness, whether it's to seek low political advantage, almost all of them seem to go along with the big lie. And every time they do, they weaken structure and the party of this country and the beauty of this country. So, while Donald Trump pardons insurrectionists and lets those who attack our police officers walk free, we stand here with our first responders. We will make sure that your sacrifices this day are never forgotten, nor will we ever, ever forget the lives of those we lost in the connection with the attack. We pray for all our deceased responders, our first responders, and our families. And in conclusion, let us remember the attack of January 6th is not over. It lives on in the threats to our election workers. It lives on through those who want to take away our right to vote, who want to legalize voter discrimination. We must never, never, never stop fighting for this beautiful democracy, which January 6th showed us is more fragile than we ever imagined. Donald Trump's big lie is powerful, but the roots of our democracy and our desire to make sure the truth remains the truth are even stronger. Perseverance of the American people is greater. So God bless our first responders. God bless America, this great arsenal of democracy. Leader Jeffries.
Good evening. Thank you, Leader Schumer, Speaker Emerita Pelosi, to the Sicknick and Smith family, and to all of my colleagues who are present. Today we gather here on the steps of the United States Congress, the citadel of our democracy, to commemorate the solemn 5-year anniversary of the violent insurrection incited by Donald Trump to overturn the results of a free and fair election. On that fateful day, hundreds of brave, courageous, and dedicated Capitol Police and D.C. officers stood on these very steps and across the Capitol grounds to defend the Congress, the country, and the Constitution. They were outnumbered by a violent mob, but never overwhelmed by the seriousness of the moment. For more than 5 hours, they were forced to engage in hand-to-hand combat, confronting thousands of bloodthirsty rioters who were unleashed by Donald Trump. They were beaten with pipes, whipped, assaulted by bear spray, and pummeled by Confederate flagpoles. They were bloodied, but unbowed. We owe these heroes an eternal debt of gratitude, and will never forget their service and their sacrifice. Had it not been for their bravery on that fateful day, many of us would not be alive right now, standing on these Capitol steps, continuing to serve our nation. And I have a simple message for the violent mob of insurrectionists. Donald Trump may have pardoned your crimes, but only God can pardon your sin. James Baldwin once made the observation that history is not merely something to be read, and it does not refer merely or even principally to the past. On the contrary, the great force of history comes from the fact that we carry it within us, are unconsciously controlled by it, and history is literally present in all that we do. It is to history that we owe our frames of reference, our identities, and our aspirations. We gather here today because we are still living the history of January 6th, and we will never allow it to be whitewashed. We thank the heroes of January 6th. We remember those whose lives were lost, aspire to be a better nation, and make clear to the election deniers that we will never allow a violent insurrection to take place on American soil again. Today, we are joined by the families of officers Brian Sicknick and Jeffrey Smith. Gladys, Ken, and Aaron, thank you so much for your presence here today and for your continued strength and patriotism. We'll now ask everyone to join us in a moment of silence to remember those whose lives were lost as a result of the tragic and horrific events of January 6, 2021. May God bless those whose lives have been lost, their families, Capitol Police, members of law enforcement, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Let me see. If not, maybe it's a car. And I called. I was running for mayor. I was not yet mayor. But I have known Gabby since, I guess, back when she was the state legislator. I was a branch. I don't support.
I liked what you just said there. I thought that was
Anybody say anything about like both sides or anything like that, or no?
yes.
All right. Well, I'll keep the shot up for now. No, not really.
Yeah, because one of the guys I reached out to was supposed to send me, I guess, some
I never did any of that. I don't even know how much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
because you're you. That fast.
And they're all doing video like this.
Thank you. Oh, I told him they could keep it. I didn't see anything. No, you can keep it. I didn't see anything. I'm gonna leave you guys. I didn't see anything. They need people to testify. I saw nothing. I saw nothing. Yeah. I saw nothing.
I have to get home. I have to go in the morning, so I'm working the time. I get up plenty of places to stop. Hey guys.